Hi there, and welcome to Crocheting Through the Chaos with Doll's Chaos Crochet. Now, if you ever wondered why I might have chosen that name for myself, that's because I have two kids and I'm crocheting through the chaos of raising children in everyday life. I also have two dogs and a cat who you can probably see right in the background, right there. She comes over to say hi quite a bit. Now, if you're watching this, you might already have some ideas on how to crochet, but just in case, I'm going to start right at the very beginning. And in this video, we are going to cover how to start your crochet with a chain stitch. Now, to start your chain stitch, there are two different methods that are pretty popular. The first one is the one that I tend to do, which is a slip knot. You're probably familiar with this, most people are. Just in case you're not, though, it's go around, pull it through. If you've done it correctly, it's also able to be pulled out like so. The other method is, rather than doing a slip knot, you just go straight across and then you just start crocheting straight into that loop, right like that. I don't like this method because it leaves this loose, which means that it is possible for both this to get tightened up just like a slip knot, or also have it fall out completely if it gets pulled the wrong direction. That's really, though, it's up to you. Whichever one you like best will work just fine. But once you have your chosen start, be it a slip knot or not, what we do first is called a chain stitch. So you want to have your yarn not pulled so tight it can't slide like this. See how it goes right across the entire arm of the hook. You don't need it to be so tight that it doesn't move easily. You don't want it to be so loose that it's gappy like that, though. So you want to have it not snug, but up close like you're giving it a hug. Once it's on like that, you're going to take your yarn, you're going to catch it on your hook like so, and pull it through. This is one chain stitch that we just completed. If this is your first time, good job. It takes a little bit to learn, but the first step is always the hardest. You want to keep going like that and keep your chains, again, slightly loose, not gappy, but looser than just your the arm of your hook. And you want to try and keep them approximately the same size the entire way down. Now, there are other methods to start. This is the one that is the most popular and the easiest to learn. Oh, hi, kitty kitty. No, we're not going to join right now. But in order to do the other ones, one of the other things you can do is called a foundational crochet stitch. There are different versions. The one we're doing right now is a foundational slip stitch. So rather than just going and chaining your row as far across as you want it to be, you're going to chain 2 for the foundational slip. Then you are going to take your hook, you are going to insert it into the first loop of your chains, so the one that is furthest away from your hook. Then you're going to pull your yarn up and pull it through, and then you're going to loop over your hook again and pull it through again. Now if you look here, it looks just like a regular stitch right there. Now, not this stitch, but the bar below it right here, you're going to put your hook through. And then you're going to do again. You're going to pull the yarn through, loop over, and pull it through again. This will give you a more elastic, stretchy kind of hemline. It's a little easier to join if you're doing multiple pieces. It also means that you don't have to try and keep it quite as straight if you're going to be joining it around later on. So if you're doing something that works in the round, that is how you do that. Now, another thing that people will do for starting is if you're making a circle, the one that I like the best is a chain 2 method. So you do 2 chains and then you are going to stitch into your first chain yet again, and you are going to pull it through, and you're going to do a single crochet, which is just like that. You pull it through, then you pull another loop on your hook, and you pull that through both the loops you had. And you're going to do that, and you're going to put at a minimum of 3, usually 6, depending on what you're making, into that first chain, just like this. When you get all 6 in, you're going to have a nice cute little circle that you can then join and keep working in the round if you're making bags or hats, mandalas, anything that you're going to be making in a circle. This is a good starting point. You'll see here it's going to be a nice little circle. I only did 5, that's okay. One of the things you'll learn later on is that the different number of stitches you put into the first row and then use as a repeat point determines whether it's flat or kind of cup shaped or even really pointy, like the end of, say, if you're trying to make a stuffed heart, that you'll only want 3 for the pointy end of a heart. Now, the other thing that this might take me a second to actually get right again, I haven't done it in a while, people like to do a magic ring. So rather than doing a slip knot, you are going to feed it through like you're making a slip knot, but before you pull it closed, you're going to grab that loop right there, and then you're going to start working. You're going to grab that loop, you're going to make a slip stitch right there, which is just you pull the yarn right through, and then you're going to go and you're going to crochet around that loop before you pull it closed. Now, this is a great method if you don't want anything, no kitty kitty. This is a great method if you do not want anything to have any space in the center. Some people really don't like that, and depending on what you make, it's pretty important to have it pulled tight. So once you're done with the number of stitches you want, you just tug on that end and you pull it all the way shut like that. Now, the important thing to remember if you do this method is that you need to be sure that when you are done and have pulled it closed, you do something to secure this end. If you don't secure it, it is just a loose thread. It will come undone in the middle of your work. It might not come undone immediately, but with washing and wear, it will eventually come apart and ruin whatever you have worked so hard on. And we don't want that, do we? So these are your basic methods for starting your crochet. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, feel free to like and follow, and find me on Coffee at Dolls Chaos Crochet. Thank you.